Welcome to the stream, and today we've got a massive game as I adjust my camera because I think it just needs a bit of a movement to the right. There we go, that's a lot better. Right, yes, welcome to the stream, everyone. Hope you've had a good day. I've certainly had an interesting one. All sorts of car-related problems and all sorts, which is great. If you own a car, you probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's been good. Enjoyed the weekend's football. Definitely something, a lot of things to talk about before we actually get on with watching this game tonight. Um, I'll just notice actually, if I lean forward, I'm kind of really fine, aren't I? Well, there you go. Welcome to the Champions League. Champions League is back. Brilliant. I'm really looking forward to these two games because I get to watch both of them, which is unusual. I usually only get to watch one of them, and going forward, I may only be able to watch the back end of the Tuesday games, which might be something we'll talk about during the game tonight, I think. But as you can see, the table looks like this for Newcastle. They are, and if you're chatting to me, by the way, or if anyone's chatting to me at this point, I don't have my chat open. I'm literally just on OBS, just streaming. So I will get the chats up in a second. I've been quite late setting things up tonight. So Borussia Dortmund, the top after their two wins against Newcastle, which have transformed their Champions League campaign, because before that they were in real trouble, losing one, drawing one from the first two. But Newcastle are bottom with 4 points, AC Milan with 5, then Paris Saint-Germain with 6, and Borussia Dortmund with 7. I think my bet is that we're probably going to see PSG and AC Milan go through. But this game is extremely unpredictable because Newcastle thrashed PSG at home. But away from home, I think PSG are a different monster at home. They're a very, very good team. And obviously, we know about all the money that goes into the club, but they're not quite run in the same way now as they were a few years ago. Dortmund are obviously playing Milan as well. That will be a game that may well kind of decide Newcastle's fate for them to an extent. But a win for Newcastle tonight is a must, really. I think a draw, I don't know, I don't think a draw keeps them in it unless other results go their way. So if they draw, their last game's at home to AC Milan, I think, and if they draw with PSG and say Milan were to win, they'll go up to the Newcastle will be on 5, PSG on 7, Dortmund on 7, and Milan on 8. And it would be quite a difficult ask for Newcastle to finish in the top 2 of the group, I think, because I'm pretty sure PSG and Dortmund are playing each other. So a draw might not be enough. It might be enough, but it might not be enough. So we will see. But that's the lay of the land at the moment. We'll have a look at the. Oh, look at that! Wow, Lazio have gone 2-0 up already. They were 0-0 when I started getting ready for this stream about 15 minutes ago. Crazy. Let me just try and get some. I'm going to try and get some chats going here because we're running a tad late. As I say before. Oh, that's not even the right one, is it? Never mind. I'm going to get rid of that. Obviously, we watched. I did actually keep up with the back end of the game between Fulham and Wolves yesterday, which was quite a tricky. I mean, no, not even tricky. It's not the right word. I'm thinking of the position of VAR. Although there was a lot of stuff going on with VAR last night, and a lot of reaction, which I thought was a bit over the top. Because to be honest, they're not. It's not really. I need to unplug my. Oh, there we go. Right. Yeah. So a little bit over the top in terms of the reaction. For get rid of you. Chuck you over here. And I think we need to get rid of. Well, it's not actually there anymore, but that's fun. The reaction for the what's it called now? The decisions that happened yesterday, the 3 penalties given, I think all of them went through VAR. and I only saw the last one. I didn't see the other two. I don't think. Oh no, I did see two of them. I saw the last two. Um, and to be honest, I kind of agreed with. I definitely agreed with the last minute Fulham penalty. Absolutely, because the guy runs across him and he catches him. Simple as. It's really not that complex at all. Really isn't. So I don't know what people's problem was with that. I think it's kind of as fast as you could realistically make it, the decision, given everything else that goes on, um, whilst making that. Um, yeah, given everything else that goes on, I don't think you could ask for a quicker decision. And as far as getting the right decision was concerned, yeah, spot on. I suppose people's complaint right now is the fact that it's it's kind of intruding on the flow of the game, and there's certain decisions that are made that probably shouldn't be made. Um, but to be honest, from my point of view, I think for decisions for big ones like that can wait until. Whoa, nice bit of anime coist. They definitely don't. Um, I don't want to see, obviously, like stoppages happen every 5 second, every five, not even 5 minutes, but like every minute for an offside or that kind of thing. And I think sometimes the Tottenham Chelsea game was an example of a game which was just stop start stop start stop start all the time, and it was a little ridiculous. Um, Kind of seeing how that happened, but at the same time, I think if you're gonna, I think with the offsides, there's an easy way out, and that easy way out is go and um, yeah, just go and use the automatic offside or semi-automatic offsides. Use that. Don't be stupid and think, oh yes, I know what I'll do. I'll just try and draw some lines on a pitch when they clearly don't have. I saw another YouTuber kind of put up a video talking about this, and I kind of agree with them. And I've been saying it for a while. They don't have the technology to be able to forensically do the offsides with the lines like they do, because they're completely reliant on human input, and the error there's potential for that. I'm just going to plug this charger in here. The error that is um, available for that kind of judgment is ridiculous. So there you go. I just don't agree with that. Obviously, a fantastic win for Fulham. It puts them in a great position in the league. But as far as whoa, 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 whoa. This keeps happening, man. Right. Yeah, as far as that's concerned, it's it is frustrating to see. It's very, very frustrating to see. Anyway, so big win for Fulham. Um, and I suppose now we're coming to today's game and a couple of the other games as well, whether Newcastle can actually win this game. And I think, given uh, how they played last time, I'd say yes, but they've got a lot of injuries, suspensions, all sorts going on. I mean, we'll see if we can get the lineups for you. I think we can. So yeah, there they are. So I'm just going to transition this here. It's an interesting lineup. I'm just going to have to take this off studio mode so I can actually see what it is. So, that is tiny, isn't it? Oh well, I don't know how much other way of doing this other than kind of maybe trying to find another way of doing a different way. I'll say it's different with the Champions League ones. You can't quite use the same web pages as you want to for that. So there you go. But it's in goal for PSG, Donnarumma, then Hakimi, Skriniar, Danilo, Hernandez. That's a really, really strong back four. And then Ruiz, Ugarte, and Lee Kang In. I've heard he's actually played pretty well for PSG this season. And then Dembele, Kolo Muani, and Mbappe. It's a really good team. on paper, it's a really good team, but they got thrashed. It wasn't. I'm pretty sure it was a pretty close to this team, this 11, I think, that got thrashed by Newcastle. So we'll see. The Newcastle lineup: Pope, Trippier, Lascelles, Shah, Livramento. Oh, Livramento against Dembele. um, that might be interesting. Good luck to him. I think he played really well, to be fair, against Arsenal. Arsenal, I think it was Martinelli who was playing against him. Is that right, or was it Saka? No, it was Saka on. There was actually Saka on the other side because he was playing right back that day. Today he's playing left back, which is interesting. Then Miley, Gamerej, Jolinton, Almiron, Isak, Gordon. Interesting to see Gordon's playing again. I would have thought they might have rested him because he played pretty much the whole 90 minutes at the weekend in the win against Chelsea. So I don't know. It's an Almiron. I would expect, and this is something that's happened with Newcastle quite a lot. Things are going to go off quite a lot in this game, aren't they? Because I've got a lot of notifications from football. But yeah, it's a tricky one, I think, for Newcastle because they don't really have the depth now that a lot of their players are injured. I don't know if Wilson's injured. I can't remember. But yeah, you look at like Lascelles wouldn't normally play. Livramento normally wouldn't play. Although I'm not really sure who else they've got as an amazing left back. I've heard like, was it the tall guy whose name I've completely forgotten. I don't have the subs there, but I can find them. Let's see. Turn the alerts off. Let's find them here. So the subs are not really very. Mukiele and no Soler and Vitinha and Asensio and Gonçalo Ramos are the notable subs for PSG. For Newcastle, oh gosh, okay. Lewis Hall, Karius, Dummett, Dubravka. Dummett is, oh yeah, Dummett and Hall are probably the most noteworthy. Then they've got three other players I don't even know. So they've got a very very reduced team here of Newcastle. I don't know why we're just stuck on ads. Very annoying. Hey ho. But yeah, so that's the team that's currently on. I'm not I just don't have a lot of faith in this Newcastle team now. Given the injuries. I tell you what though, if they can get a win here, or even a point, and if other results go their way, then they will, I think they'll go back to St James's Park with a lot of confidence that they can beat AC Milan. They managed to hold out for a draw away from home against Milan, and at home tonight, anything goes. At home, no, not tonight. 2 weeks time. I think it'll be 2 weeks time. In December, they'll be playing their last game. I really hope this goes to the last game because it'll make for a really, really exciting game. Although I feel like the Man United group might also go to the last game as well, which would be quite good. Speaking of the next few weeks, I'm potentially going to be busy right up until 8 o'clock, which means I might have to set up a stream that doesn't start until about 8:15 or 8:30, which is obviously quite late for PSG for the Champions League games. Let's see, live. There we go. Just been stuck in a million adverts there, which is I really hope that doesn't happen during the game. But yeah, so they've got I'm basically busy until 8, so I'm toying with the idea of not doing the streams midweek because it's very very difficult. It's a shame because it's obviously Champions League football, and I think later in the year that's going to be quite big. So we'll see, but I think for now, I don't necessarily have to worry about it too much because a lot of the midweek games will be cup or some league games, and next week will be fine because I think the Luton Arsenal game kicks off later than 8, so I might be all right for that. But then the week after is the final final Champions League group games. What can we do with that? I'm not sure. We might just have to start late. But then those games might not matter. Depends on what happens this weekend with Man United and Newcastle. And obviously, Arsenal are top of their group, but I would expect them to beat Lens tomorrow. Even though I think there's an element of Lens just played really, really well at their place earlier this season and beat us comfortably. So, taking that into account, um, I don't expect them to come to the Emirates and do the same thing. I think there's a lot of reasons why that performance happened. Whereas now we're at home, we've got one win to secure Champions League knockout stage football for next season, for this season, and I think it should be okay. It should be fine. I don't really see a problem with that. So there you go. And I believe if we win tomorrow night, then we will be top of the group. So I'm happy with that. Very happy with that. Got loads of ads again. What is this? And I can't even navigate off the screen because if I do, it'll carry on the ads. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so Newcastle, Newcastle have what have they done so far? So they've drawn away at Milan, then they beat PSG at home, then they lost twice against Dortmund away and at home, or home rather home then away. Really, really difficult position, I think, for Newcastle to be in at this stage because they're not obviously they now basically have to go to PSG and get a result, and they're quite in a way they're quite fortunate that the group is still as open as it is because remember they're only on 4 points. So I think in a normal Champions League group, if you look at the group that Arsenal are in, I think Arsenal are like top of the group with 10 or something like that, or 9. Is it 9 points from 4 games? Yeah, 9 points from 4 games. So um, if they've got 9 points from 4 games, they're potentially going up to 12 from 5. It's probably difficult to say if you were on 9 points from 4 games that Newcastle would catch them, for example. They wouldn't, probably wouldn't. But they're very fortunate. They're only really 3 points away? Is it 2 or 3 away from? Hang on, I don't want to switch away because I know I'm going to elongate the ads, but I've got to. So look at the table, not that table, that table. So yeah, they're only 3 points behind Dortmund. So yeah, I'm not not a massive fan of that. I don't know why I keep getting ads on this one. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Right. Um hmm, sorry, I had corn on the cob for tea. It's got stuck in my teeth. This is not very helpful stuff for that. Right, so what time are we on? It's got 5 minutes left. Just hoping I haven't actually missed anything, which would be quite annoying. So not a way I can skip these. Nope, there isn't a way I can skip them. It's like YouTube ads, but they put it on a live screen. Very weird. Hmm. I do this, and then that. There you go, beach yeah. Okay, that possibly deals with it. I'm not sure. Right. Um. Yeah. So Newcastle obviously playing Dortmund away. Let's see what the. Oh, I can't even see that, can I? That's fun. Let's see if we can open another window. Uh, Chelsea, yeah. So Celtic are out of Europe after losing to Atletico. Let's just see what's happened here. Yeah, so we're a few minutes. Oh, okay, a couple of minutes behind, but we should be fine. So yeah, Lazio beat Celtic 2-0. Two very late goals there from Immobile, which leaves their group as where is it now? Oh, it doesn't actually tell me the groups. That's not helpful. And Shakhtar have beaten Royal Antwerp 1-0. Amazing that Antwerp are in the Champions League, though. That's crazy. I'd be surprised if they're very high in the. They're very high in their group. To be fair, where are Antwerp? They're in the Barcelona Porto group. Wow, look at that. So Shakhtar winning has put them level on points with Barcelona and Porto before the last games, which is pretty big, to be fair. And tonight, of course, Man City can guarantee qualification for the well, they've already guaranteed qualification, and so have Leipzig, but they need to win tonight to or even draw. Who are they even playing? Is it Red Star? I think they're playing Red Star tonight. So they probably need to win to guarantee finishing top of the group. But that might not necessarily be the case. Pretty sure that. Well, actually, there's a point. Have Man City beaten Leipzig twice? No, they haven't. So they've still got to play Leipzig. So they probably need to win, and they might actually need to win their last game to guarantee finishing top, possibly. Or at least not win, draw the last game against their game against Leipzig and win the other game. So in theory, I mean, we're talking about like tiny little details, but it's not a massive thing, I don't think, for City, because I think it doesn't really matter who they play. I think in the last 16, I think you'd back him to beat anyone in the last 16. So obviously, talking about this group, we've already heard about Arsenal's group for tomorrow. They are top with 9 points, and then it's PSV and Lens on 5 and Sevilla on 2. So it's quite a big day tomorrow, really, because Sevilla could go out completely if Lens and PSV both get points. Arsenal could win the group by beating Lens, or even I don't think a draw would do it, but a draw would guarantee them qualification to the last 16, going into an away game against PSV. Or is it PSV or is it Sevilla? I can't remember. I think they've already beaten Sevilla twice or once, twice. They've beaten Sevilla twice, so they now just need to get a win against Lens, and they've won the group. But if they were to draw the group and draw the game tomorrow, and PSV and Sevilla were to draw, they would also win the group in that set of results. So that's pretty much there. Bayern Munich, top of their group. They've won their group. It's all between Man United, Galatasaray, and Copenhagen. The Galatasaray Man United game tomorrow is kicking off at 5:45, which is a real shame because I'm busy. I can't do anything about that. A bit frustrating. I might even actually get to watch the first. That might happen. I might be able to do that, to be fair. The first little bit of that. But we'll see how busy I am. But Man United need to win tomorrow. They need to win tomorrow and then hope for the best against Bayern Munich. The problem is, even if they win tomorrow and they end up on 6 points, then all it needs is a Bayern Munich win and a winner between Copenhagen and Galatasaray, and Man United are out of the Champions League and they're in the Europa League. Excuse my voice. So it's. I've got to say, I'm not expecting a massive amount here. I don't know why it's not taking us live. There you go. But yeah, it's going to be tricky to see Man United winning this group. I was not even winning this group. Man United even qualifying. I think at this stage, if they don't get a win tomorrow, that's it. I think that's it, because They would have to beat Bayern Munich and hope that, although it's not mathematically out of the question, they'd have to beat Bayern Munich and hope there's not a winner between Copenhagen and Galatasaray. Whereas at least if they win tomorrow, then then they give themselves a chance with a game between Copenhagen and Galatasaray that could end up in a draw. And if that does happen, then obviously the one result that could completely throw a spanner in the works is if Copenhagen go and beat Bayern Munich. Don't think a draw really makes a big difference, but winning that game against Bayern Munich would be huge. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely massive. So there you go. The players are out on the pitch. They're shaking hands. We're ready to get started soon. It's a massive game. This. They're both playing. Apparently, both playing with a normal kind of 4-3-3. Um, it'll be interesting to see if Eddie Howe does kind of go kind of all out. And not all out's not the right word, but like if he ends up being very aggressive in this game, I think that would probably be a mistake. Look at that midfield; it's quite hard working, actually, isn't it? Lee Kang in Ugarte and Fabian. They're all three very hard working midfielders. Um, I like that. I think Fabian doesn't get around the pitch as well. Lee Kang in will, and Ugarte will, and then obviously we know about the front three. But I don't think Mbappe and Dembele will track back almost at all, which could lead to, if Newcastle are able to maintain possession, they could end up actually scoring goals in this game. But what they can't afford to do, Newcastle, is go and get blown out of the water by this PSG team. Similar to what Newcastle did to PSG. They can't afford that in this game. I think for their confidence, it'd be horrible. Yes, they beat Chelsea at home, but having watched a fair bit of that game, I think Chelsea was shocking. And it wasn't like after the first half, Newcastle should have been 4-1 up. They definitely didn't deserve that at all, but they ended up winning the game 4-1 in the end. Which, yeah, Chelsea the second half were absolutely shocking. So after being kind of equal in the first half, so I'm not so sure. Um, I don't think this team is necessarily what it's cracked up to be. Um, but yeah, nice to see Miley getting a start as one of the Champions League. Can you imagine? I think the kid's only 18. 18 years old and getting a start in the Champions League. What a moment, what a day for him. Absolutely brilliant. So they are just, I think it's the Newcastle players are in a huddle. So should be fine. I did consider maybe watching when the games come next Tuesday and the Tuesday after, although to be fair, the Man United game is probably the one I would watch. If Arsenal have already qualified, then the Man United game is the one I would watch, assuming that they're still in with a chance of qualifying. I'd expect Arsenal to, as I've been saying quite a lot, it's the Champions League, and it's nice to see that in Arsenal's first attempt in the Champions League for over 6 years, they're playing so well in their group right now that it's not much of a sweat for them now. The win in Sevilla was massive, and then their last game. I think their last game was the win in Sevilla, wasn't it? Or was it at home? Oh, it was at home. But yeah, the win in Sevilla was huge because that kind of set up the group quite nicely. And to be fair, I think we have somewhat got. Oh, here's a chance for PSG already. Mbappe. Mbappe checks inside, passes it out wide. Almost gone into Dembele, but it's cleared. Oh, it's Kalamawani, sorry. From a distance, Dembele, apart from their positioning, Dembele and Kalamawani look quite similar, unfortunately, which isn't very helpful. I can get their numbers. I think I'm just going to leave the. Actually, while we're at it, I don't really know what a good time is to do this, but I'm gonna see if I can get the stats scene up here. So, please, let's see if I can get this going here. So, Is there no stats? There isn't. Okay, good. Right, fine. For what it's worth, Man City are also drawing 0-0 at the moment. Is this going to work? Might do. Start with this. Go with that for now. Probably going to be quite different though. Yeah, thought so. There you are. Just about. That should be fine. Yep. All right, we're there. Let's put you on then. Although I actually don't like the off-center camera there. That doesn't make sense. Oh. Yeah, we'll just do that. Cool. Right. There you go. Have I missed anything here? I don't think I have. No. Cool. Bellamore. Oh, is that Pereira? Bugarte. Oh no, Pereira's playing at centre. Interesting. Now that's something I've not really kept up with is Danilo Pereira playing at centre back, which is quite is Dembele cutting inside and out. That's really nice. That and Ugarte with the volley that didn't work, and then it's volleyed over the bar by Fabian. That was a really good chance. That was a really good Dembele. Even though he slips, he still has the beating of Shah. And Livramento filling in at centre back there, and Mbappe and Fabian just kind of getting in each other's way in the end. Oh dear! If they just kind of let if one of them just lets the other take the shot, I think they'll probably score, or at least get a shot on target. But that's a good start from PSG. They'll be confident by that. They're quite good. I'm concerned for, as I said, when I heard that Livramento was playing at left back and he was playing against Dembele. Goodness me, that's a tough game for Livramento. That, and given, yes, he played well on a right back against Martinelli, but I think this this isn't that great for PSG. Newcastle have won it up the field though. That's nice. Isak in the corner. He's played it in to the penalty area, but that should be shepherded out for a goal kick, and it is. Hello, Morocco. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. We're watching PSG Newcastle. It looks like Newcastle have made a bit of a shaky start, but it is away from home. And I was saying earlier, as long as they don't get blown away in the first few minutes, I think they're in with a shot in this game. But I looked at this PSG team, and it does look quite strong. Looks very, very strong. And also, I was just talking earlier about Danilo Pereira playing at centre back. I've never seen him play at centre back before, and I think actually in the modern game, I think it works quite well because he's not that mobile, which is a problem, I suppose. But he's got a good ability on the ball, and obviously we know about his physical his physical traits, and he can defend quite well. So yeah, it's interesting to see that as the games moved on, when he started his career, he was very much his centre defensive mid, and that was always where he played. And I think the problem he had often in that position was he wasn't quite quick enough on the ball to get out of tight situations. The problem I think I suppose the problem he's got in centre back is if he's tested in behind. We'll see with Isak tonight. Can Danilo Pereira keep up with a player like Isak on the break? That's the question. There was I have a feeling that PSG were just kind of not. It wasn't just about this, but I think the fact that they were playing, that's lovely from Mbappe. He takes the ball. Trippier. Okay, referee's just played on here, and here's Gordon now on the break. Going to pass it out to Almiron and now to Isak, just outside the penalty area. Now on to Almiron again. on his left. He's looking for the cross. He's not going to get it. Joelinton. Joelinton, I think, from a technical point of view, doesn't quite have it as a player as an 8. Oh, that's a nice ball into Joelinton, though. Oh, what a back heel! It's just gone out of play. That was really nice. Just as I said that as well, I was just saying I'm not convinced by Joelinton technically in that position just outside the penalty area to be able to create something, and he actually did a nice little back heel to set up that chance. But yeah, PSG playing out from the back, that's going to be interesting. That's not a good ball, but he's about kept it. Well played by Colomboani. He came short there to set that up, and here's Mbappe. He's dribbling at Trippier, and Trippier's done really well there. That was really nice. Great defending. Can you imagine the sheer horror? You see Mbappe get the ball and just sprint at you with really close control. He did actually do quite well to set up the chance, but I think he didn't quite. He didn't quite get it right in the end. That's going to be a foul, surely. Yeah. On Gordon. It's an interesting start, this. As we were saying before, I don't think a point is really good enough for this Newcastle team. They can't. For Newcastle tonight, they need a win. A point puts them in a position where they have to go and win their last game at home to AC Milan, and even then they may not qualify for the next round of the Champions League. Presumably that's what they're looking for as well. I don't think they're necessarily expecting anything else. It's a long ball upfield for Newcastle, and it's pretty much cleared. Yeah, PSG have got it again. That was nice. Oh, really nice from Colomboani into Hakimi, and he's burying on the penalty area. Gives it into Mbappe, back heel. Great save from Pope. Fantastic save. Cross back in. That was a really, really nice. That would have been a great goal, that. The build-up on this near side was really nice. Another ball into the box. That's cleared. Fabian's going to retrieve it. Now, Fabian's an example of a great player. Now, that's another good ball from Dembele. That's not a good touch from Fabian, though. He's a good example of a number 8 that can do a really good job. Guimaraes got absolutely tanked there. Goodness me. But that was a really nice. That was a really nice move. Great back heel from Colomboani. Really, really nice. Hakimi's looking for Mbappe as he sprints. He just no one's tracking him. No one's getting there. And Livramento's so far away from him. And in the end, is Livramento playing at centre back? I think he might be. Or is he just he finds himself having to fill in at centre back every time because he's not catching up with the play? No, he is playing at left back in position at least. That's interesting. Ball into Joelinton in the midfield. Not Joelinton, sorry. That was Guimaraes. Now Joelinton has it, and he's giving it to Livramento. Now to Gordon. Yeah, I just also look at the physique of the two midfields. Oh, that's lovely play again, Fabian, and they're in again on this right-hand side. Fabian can play it into Dembele. Oh, there's Colomboani, sorry, back into Fabian. No, it's not quite the right touch there to get past him. Now Ugarte plays it out to Mbappe. Just a bit too far outside the penalty area to really be a threat here. So Newcastle just playing it around, and now it's out to Hakimi. He can put up a good ball in here. He definitely could have got his Dembele. Again, we're just kind of going back round. It doesn't really feel like they're going anywhere, but I think they're trying to tempt Newcastle into a press which they can play through. It's gone all the way back to Skriniar. But Skriniar's kind of only about 40, 50 yards out, so it's actually quite close. Hakimi looking for the space for the cross. That's nice. Ooh. Going to be a corner. That was kind of a Shanks clearance from Shah. I think it hit his own defender. Yeah, it hits Lascelles and goes behind. Oh dear. This feels ominous. This feels very ominous from PSG. I think based on Newcastle's last 2 away performances, I think they're going to have to defend a lot in this game. they're going to have to defend well. Oh, that's lovely from Dembele, but he's not quite got there. Played out. That might be Ham. No, it's not going to give a penalty for that. And Isak could be on the break here. He's played it wide. No, it's not going anywhere. Hakimi. Hakimi is the closest thing I think that exists to Kyle Walker in terms of pace and recovery speed. Oh dear, he's just given that away to Almiron though. Almiron into the penalty area. Plays it into Isak. Oh, what a miss. What a miss. That was shocking. Goodness me. That was a great tackle from Almiron there. Hakimi just didn't really know what was going on, and he plays it into Almiron and into Isak, and his touch is going for the near post. Clearly, but just puts a bit too much air on it. That's a shame. Now it's played in behind for Mbappe. He's pushed over Trippier, and that will be a free kick. Looks like Dortmund are winning against AC Milan. That's a big scoreline. That helps Newcastle a bit because if they were to, well, I say it helps Newcastle. Nah, not sure. It definitely helps. Obviously, if Dortmund were to win tonight, then they go through regardless. I think. Yeah, they would go through regardless of what happens here. A nice touch again. Joe Linton playing it out. Mirage is up for this, but it's given to Almiron and wide to Trippier and back into, and eventually Almiron gets it, and it was actually really well defended in the end. It's going to be a PSG throw. That was quite nice. That was very nice. And Newcastle, PSG. I think both Newcastle have started to rise to the challenge a bit here, which I'm encouraged by because I wasn't necessarily expecting that to happen in this game. Definitely wasn't expecting it. And I think, given the start, it looked very ominous. But it's going to be a free kick now to PSG in their own half. Well, we know that game. Let's just check the other scoreline here. That's not the one. Where has it gone? Did I get rid of it? No. Where the scores are here. There you go. So yeah, Dortmund are beating AC Milan 1-0 in Milan, which is a bad scoreline for Milan, that is. PSG just playing it around the back here. Man City are losing to Leipzig, which isn't what I was expecting. That's shocking. Barcelona 0-0 with Porto and Young Boys beating Red Star. Oh dear, they've given that away there, PSG. That wasn't great. But yeah, look, Man City are losing. What is going on here? What is going on? I wish I could have both the games side to side to side. I can't really. Well, not that I can't do that, but I don't really have the interest because City are through already. So it's like, even if they lose to Leipzig, it then puts first place in jeopardy for City. But it's not like they're not going to go through. And as I was saying earlier, I don't think City really care who they play because they're probably gonna beat them anyway. I think the only difference, the only concrete difference in that seeding is that if they finish second in their group, they have to play at home and then away in their last 16 game. But City are so good that I don't think anyone would think going into that game would go into a game against City consider themselves favourites. I suppose the big problem for them, if you ask a City fan, would you want a last 16 tie against Real Madrid? Or PSG potentially. But this is a group that's an example of a team that you could potentially draw, having finished second in the group, and not feel too bad about it, because Dortmund could potentially go on and win the group, and that I don't think anyone's going to necessarily, well, not anyone, but the European elite. Obviously Bayern can't play them, but if you were Arsenal, if you were City, if you were by Real Madrid, if you were Barcelona, you probably wouldn't fear playing Dortmund. That's a lovely ball inside there. You might not get it though. No, not quite. Almiron was close there. Yeah, so you wouldn't necessarily fear playing Dortmund. I suppose this is the thing about when you finish top of the group is, are you always going to get that favourable draw? And I don't think you necessarily do. I remember Arsenal finishing second quite a few times in the Champions League over the years in their group, and then they end up playing a team that's actually very good, um, obviously, but and very rarely did they play. Very rarely did they play against a team they were favourites against. Um, but then I seem to remember they won their group once, and then they played Bayern Munich anyway, and they got thrashed. So it's it doesn't really make a great deal of sense. Um, and I think the last 16 thing, that I think next season the champions. Oh, was he giving that away there? No, no, still play on. I think the Champions League format for next season makes a lot more sense in terms of you're judged over more games. Yes, there's the whole. I think people have made the argument that why are they adding more games to the calendar? It's disgusting and it's going to make players have more and more injuries, and all they want to do is make more money. That's true, but I think from a competition point of view, a tournament that has more games will be more proven as a way to find out who the best team is. If you play if you make a cup tournament, so like the FA Cup or the um, Carabao Cup, the reason why some lesser teams who don't necessarily go on to win the league the same year, they go on to win it, is because you only need to play 5 games, sometimes 6 or 5. Obviously, the FA Cup has replays, but I think you only have to win. Was it third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth? 6 games. Yeah. So 6 games for the FA Cup and 5 for the Carabao Cup. Whereas the Champions League, you play next season 8 games, followed by, if you finished. Oh, Isak almost got in there. That was a good attempt from Joelinton. If you finished in the top 8, you'd have the 8 games plus another 7 to win the Champions League, which is a 15 games, which is actually quite a lot. But then if you finished in the middle bracket of teams, so there's like a middle area where you'd play like a playoff round before you end up um, qualifying for the last 16. That's 17 games overall, and that's a lot. And that's kind of moving towards the kind of tournament that I would like. Um, but I think the reason why I wasn't a fan of the Super League, for one, it just lacked any kind of integration with the rest of European competition. It made no sense because teams weren't. There was such an impasse between the Premier League and a lot of the domestic leagues and the Super League that even though they said that they would integrate into domestic leagues, it was never going to happen because the leagues themselves weren't in favour of it. Whereas I think in terms of the competition, and obviously the other problem with it was that people they were just out to make money. But I think that's going to happen regardless of what teams do and um, what leagues do and what clubs do. They're always going to be out to make more money. That's just a fact of it. You might as well accept it. Not a good ball from Isak there. It's a good idea, but it's not a good ball. And so what I would like to see is this kind of Champions League format, but potentially extended to a complete league system throughout the year, rather than going to a cup tournament, or make a kind of a playoffs tournament towards the end. Kind of like, I suppose what they're modelling it on is the NFL, where they've got the league system first, and then they've got playoffs later in January and February. But I don't think it necessarily works at the last 16 level. I don't like that. I think, and it does leave open the possibility of what happened last season, where you end up with one half of the draw being stacked full of amazing teams. Man City, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, all of these teams, PSG as well, and then the other half is just loads of teams that probably won't go on to win the tournament. So why would you bother watching them? I think, and this is the thing: if you're going to do playoffs, it's got to be a limited amount of teams. Let the rest of them play in a league system. Probably extend it further than just the 8 games, and say, right, you all play, I don't know, 15 league games, and then have the top 4 play in a playoff semi-finals and a final at the end of the season. I would like that. Probably wouldn't get that swung past the the people working for the leagues. I don't think. Don't think it would. Joelinton's not very happy giving away a free kick there, but I'm not surprised. That's a ball into the box. Don't know what's happened there. Dembele shanks it over the bar. That was a good chance, that. Just going to do a quick little score check. Still 1-0 to Leipzig. Atletico are beating Feyenoord. It's still 1-0 to Dortmund in this group, which is quite an important group, to be fair. Quite an important game that for Dortmund. If they can win that, fantastic. Joelinton gets a yellow card now. He's got to be careful here. He looks like he's mouthing off a little bit too much. I know in the Premier League they wouldn't stand for that. It looks like Fabian. Oh, it is Ugarte. Yeah, Fabian's playing a bit further, more advanced. It's a very typical kind of 4-3-3, but in possession they're playing more like a 3-4-2-1. I think, although they've just lost it, so I don't know what they're doing now. But Newcastle tend to kind of play with a very flexible midfield 3 who can all go forward and all go back. And then wingers who come receive the ball and midfielders who go beyond the ball a lot of the time. Here's Almiron, he's played it wide. That's going to be tough for the player to get. He's hooked it into the box to Gordon. It's not a good touch, though, and that's going to go out back to Livramento. It's coming inside. That was nice. Livramento still going. And still plays it out wide to Trippier. Oh, to Almiron. That's a nice shot. Oh, my goodness me. What a shocking bit of goalkeeping. And it's 1-0 to Newcastle. Can you believe it? I should be celebrating. This is a massive goal for Newcastle. But goodness me, what is that goalkeeping from Donnarumma? It goes out to Almiron after the great run from Livramento. He beats 2 or 3 players there. Gives it out to Almiron. He curls it towards the goalkeeper. It's an easy save. He should be palming it way further out than he does. But he ends up palming it straight into the path of Isak. The only question here is whether Isak is offside. But I don't think he is. I think he's on because there's Hakimi who's just waiting there. Yeah, no, he's fine. He's running in as the shot's been taken, so he's onside. And it's 1-0 to Newcastle. Wow. Wow. I did not expect that. Obviously, Isak missed a sitter earlier in this game, but now it's 1-0 to Newcastle. This is a huge goal. He scuffs the save, so it kind of comes off one hand and off the other. It definitely isn't what he wanted to do, and that's why it ends up being pumped straight to the goalkeeper. It's shocking goalkeeping. Absolutely shocking goalkeeping. And it's 1-0 to Newcastle. And given that I said earlier in the game they look like they're going to get absolutely thrashed, they've built themselves into this game and actually started to be probably the more threatening team. Mbappe's barely had the ball in the last 10-15 minutes. So has Dembele. And Newcastle have made this about a midfield battle, and they're winning it at the moment, which isn't what I was expecting. But I suppose if you look at the physique of the two teams, I was saying earlier that it looked like PSG was starting to dominate that. But now I think, from a technical point of view, PSG's midfield are better than Newcastle's. But from a physical point of view, here's Dembele on the right-hand side. That's into... Oh, Colin Moine was inches away from that header. Ends up going out, and that's going to be a throw to Newcastle. They they've got a much more physical midfield of Newcastle than PSG, and that is what basically won them the game at St James's Park, and it might be what wins them the game tonight as well. It just wasn't a good shot from. This is the thing. I think I don't know why Donnarumma makes the decision to kind of palm it out when the shot's not that fierce. So I would even be trying to catch that. To be honest, I'd try to catch that. It's not a threatening shot. He's having to move a little bit, but it's not. It's not like the shot's in the corner. It's quite close to him. Hmm. If I were a PSG fan right now, I'd be a bit annoyed because I just don't think they necessarily should be 1-0 down here. They're not that much worse than Newcastle in this game. I'd say that it would have 0-0 would have been fine. Here's Fabian with a little bit of space here, giving it out to Dembele on the right hand side. That's nice, but again, it's just a simple cross. That's a volley over the bar from Agate. Of course, looking at the tables here, um, let's just have a look at the tables here. It is yeah. So Dortmund and Newcastle. So Dortmund will be on 10, then Newcastle on 7, PSG 6, Milan 5. Obviously, it's not terminal for PSG, but the problem is they have to go away to Dortmund in their final game and go and get a win to give themselves a chance of going through. And even then, if Newcastle were to beat Milan at home, then they're through. So this just transforms the group for Newcastle. If they win this game, it gives them a chance against AC Milan to potentially guarantee qualification with a win and put PSG and Milan out. They won't be able to finish top if Dortmund win. Then Dortmund have won the group actually, as it happens. If this result stays the same, that's a lovely touch from Dembele, but Livramento's there to clean up. And is Dembele going to get that back? No, he's not. Gone back out to Gordon, and oh dear, 2 Newcastle players were in there. It's not a foul, and Hakimi is in behind here. He's played it in. The back flick was so nice. It was so nice. Almiron's just gone spinning there after being fouled. The back flick from Kono Muani was really nice, but it just had a bit too much on it. So Hakimi plays the ball in here. Dembele chests it to Kono Muani. He then back flicks it back towards Dembele, but he doesn't quite control it, and it goes a bit too far wide. Such a shame. Because that would have been a fantastic goal. I don't know really if he necessarily needed to have done the back flick there. I think why didn't he just shoot? I would have probably just shot there. I can understand like the percentage chance of you scoring if you get the back flick right is much higher than if you take the shot from where you are. But there you go. I think surprise right. It's 8:34 and we're only 30 minutes into the game. I feel like I'm not behind. Interesting. Very strange. Very strange. I'm going to see if I can use my watch actually to see if I can keep a track of scores. Obviously, keeping an eye on what's going on the screen. Oh, that's not what I want. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have those on my watch. Never mind. The Memento gives it straight back to Pope. It's been a good first half of football, as I was expecting. I think generally speaking, PSG's games all tend to be quite entertaining. I mean, they won 5-2 at the weekend, so you can understand why there'd be a good pull. But I mean, if they end up in the Europa League, can you imagine the outcry of the Parisians. They would not be happy. Joelinton's been given a lot of space here. Back out to Isak, but he's in the end lost it. And now Dembele's taking it off Kolo Muani. Back to Dembele. Oh, it's just palmed wide by Pope. That was really nice defending again from Pope. Great save. It doesn't quite, the shot kind of I don't know, rolled towards him, but it was rolled in such an accurate way that he had to be full stretch there. But what Pope did really well there was he pushed it wide. He didn't push it right back into the middle again like Donnarumma did. It is a good, yeah, it's a good first half this for Newcastle so far. They've constructed it quite well. That's the first time these last 5 minutes, the first time really that PSG have really threatened since the opening 10 minutes, I'd say. Don't really know what Danilo Pereira adds as a centre back as well. Don't know if they're missing another centre back and they should be playing a different one. But excuse me, I'm not really a massive fan of that. That's a lovely ball into Kolo Muani. He's almost beaten the defender. That's not a good touch, and Newcastle could be away, but they're not. Well tackled again. And now PSG with Hakimi into Dembele, and Dembele gets tackled again. It's gone a little scrappy. It's not scrappy. It's like what's a nice bit of play from from Bruno Guimaraes. Nice touch from Trippier. And now out wide. No one's making the run there. Don't know why Gordon doesn't try and make the run there. He should be making the run wide to expose Hakimi. I think both teams have got PSG have got a right back who likes to bomb forward, and Gordon should be alive to that and ready to cheat if he sees the opportunity. And the same on the other side, Dembele, and he has done this a few times. Dembele has kind of cheated on the right hand side past Livramento when he's come forward. So it's both done the same flank as well, which is interesting. But it's pretty clear that I think Newcastle know that Mbappe is more of a threat than Dembele, although I don't know. I think in this game it looks like Dembele's been, oh dear. As I say that, he chests the ball out of play. He seems to be a bit more of a threat just because he's had more of the ball, I suppose. It was nice, but I just don't think. I wonder, could he have even? Yeah, it looks like when Pope's going towards the ball, he's thinking about catching it, but I think he eventually realizes, "I know this is a bit too far for me to reach, so I'm just going to palm it wide." Um. So yeah, PSG have the ball again. Ball into Mbappe. That was nice. Mbappe has a bit of space into Fabian. Had a really good chance there, and it's just hit straight at the Newcastle defender. He kind of came onto it and shot from inside the box. Hakimi wins it back. PSG starting to win the ball inside the Newcastle half as well, which is concerning for Newcastle if they start doing that, because they'll be able to build a lot of pressure. Ugarte plays it out to I don't know. Oh, is it Hernandez? Hernandez is playing left back, isn't it? Yeah. Hernandez is actually quite far forward, to be fair. And Ugarte, that midfield three is kind of staying roughly where it is. And they're allowing the fullbacks to bomb on both sides. Well, on the left-hand side anyway. Dembele gets it back. Fabian looking for the ball into headed away by Kolo Muani for some reason. Ugarte is nicked off it. And Almiron has been fouled on the break there. That's definitely a free kick and a yellow card. Clear yellow card against Ugarte there. Was that Ugarte who was caught on it? No, it wasn't. I don't think it was it? Who was it? It was caught. Oh, it was, yeah. That player whose name I have forgotten. But he plays quite well for them. I have forgotten the name of that player. Where is it now? Looks like Dortmund have been pegged back by uh, Milan. And it's Barcelona 1, Porto 1 as well. Oh my days. Leipzig are beating Man City 2-0 at the Etihad. Flipping Nora, what's going on there? I don't actually remember what the score of the other game was, but it looks like Man City have just not been at the rate. I don't know what the team is that they've played. Maybe they've just played a really weak team. And I think at the moment, because of the injuries, Newcastle won? No, not quite. Because of the injuries, Newcastle have. Has that gone out of play? It has, yeah. Because of the injuries, Man City could actually struggle to field a second string. You'd have laughed at me about that like a few years ago, but there you go. Now I just want to find out what the name of this guy is. Playing the other side. Lee. Let's call him Lee. Lee Kangin. Lee Kangin. But Lee. I'm assuming Lee is his first name. Or Lee is what he's called, rather. So we'll see. Almiron. That was well played by Hernandez that time. Yeah. 1-1 between Milan and Dortmund. Chukwueze with a goal. So it's this definitely makes it even more of an open group now. With that point, that might be offside. Nope. He's played back out, and his Livramento. He's turned inside. That's dangerous, but he has kept it somehow. Ooh, that's well played. It's brave. It's brave. Here's Gamerej. Plays it wide to Gordon, and Gordon's just giving it away. The problem is, I don't really. Neither of these teams are really good enough to try and keep the ball for a really long time. Neither of them are. So, especially when they're putting the pressure on, his PSG have it back. Mbappe trying to run past the defender, and Newcastle get the throw in the end. But it does leave it. There's 2 points between first and last now in the group. Newcastle win, so they still are in a position where if they win their last game, they're through. Against Milan. But now, assuming if Milan were to go and win the game, that changes things again against Dortmund. Because I think Dortmund are the only team who can actually outright qualify tonight. I'm pretty sure. That it's one of these groups that is very likely to go to the last day anyway. All 4 positions, I think. The only one, I think, if Newcastle had lost tonight, which at the moment is looking unlikely, given how well this game's going. I think if they had lost, then they would have obviously been out. I think that makes this group a bit more predictable. And I would have probably bet on PSG and Dortmund going through. Yeah, it just looks a little ponderous from this PSG team. I'm not really sure what they're trying to do. There doesn't seem to be a kind of a structure of play at all. Hakimi's coming inside to form a midfield kind of box. And that's a nice ball out to Kalamawani. Has he stayed on side? No, he hasn't. Didn't think he did. So they're kind of forming the midfield box with Hakimi coming inside, which I don't. It's not always what happens. No, I'm not even sure he was offside there. I think Livramento was playing him on, but if I prefer Hakimi playing on the outside as an overlapping fullback with Dembele cutting inside. I much prefer that. Obviously, it's quite an aggressive strategy because you're leaving basically 2 players on the wing upfield. Hakimi trying to play the ball out and ends up getting the goal kick. It is aggressive, but I mean, it presumes that Hernandez is going to bomb on the left-hand side. And they have got the ability to switch that up. So when Hernandez bombs on, Hakimi cuts in. And when Hakimi bombs on, Hernandez cuts in. Oh, that's a terrible ball out, though. Newcastle have it back again. They are dangerous in these positions. Gordon's not getting that. Gone out though for a throw to Newcastle. "41 minutes gone, and it's 1-0 to Newcastle here. To be honest, a bit of a shock scoreline. I don't think a lot of people saw Newcastle going on to win here. PSG have won the ball, and it's potentially for a minute there it was a 4-on-3. And Newcastle have got players back now. Dembele chips it across. That's goalkeepers all day long. Mbappe's never getting to that. And this doesn't feel. This is another criticism that I've had of PSG, and I think it's exposed a little bit by the fact that they're playing against a team. They're playing against teams uh, in the French league who are not that great, and they look great in that league as a result. They think, oh, they're like absolute world beaters because they won the last game 5-2 in the league and that kind of thing. But then they come into a game like this, and you think actually, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that just aren't functioning in this team. And when I saw it on paper, I was like, oh, this is actually quite cool. There's a lot of really good players in there. They should be able to do a lot of good stuff. But apart from a few instinctive moments from Koulibaly and Dembele, they've not really done much. Just Dembele in behind. Oh, we almost got there. If he got that pass right, it was in. That's given away. Kimi now on to Dembele. Dembele's still got it. He's going to try and cut inside or go on the outside even. It's gone back out to Hernandez. Going to make the overlapping run, but again, it's not really doing anything in that position. Back out to Agate. He's going to have a go. That was, it was deflected and it's gone wide for a corner. Well played by Gomes. I was thinking for a second it was going to deflect in because the goalkeeper was already committed one way. If that was deflected wide to the other corner, that was just in. Lee with the corner for PSG. He's left foot. He's got Dembele with him. He might play it to him. He does. Dembele plays it out to Kimi and now back into Lee. He's going to clip it in the box. That was nice. Really good ball, that. Now Fabian with the strike, and that's straight at the goalkeeper. Kind of bounces in front of him, but it's not really much of a test of that. Pretty straightforward. He didn't really look very confident taking that shot on. That's a shame, I think. Fabian doesn't look as impressive as I think he had a few good moments in the first kind of 10-15 minutes, but since then he's not really looked that promising. For someone who's so tall as well, I would have thought he'd be more physically imposing than he is. That was a foul. Gamera did get caught on the ball. Oh no, Joelinton got caught on the ball there, but yeah. Kind of one he's like, I didn't touch him. Definitely didn't touch him. And here's Livramento. Plays it inside. Here's Gordon. You might try and get in behind here. But he already looks tired. Although they're 45 minutes into the first half, but that's a nice ball. Almiron just gets headed over by the defender, and it'll be a corner to Newcastle. It does look quite tired. Yeah, it looks quite tired, I think. Hakimi's having a go with the ref there. I'm not sure why. But yeah, looking at the table then. We'll look at these tables. It still looks. I think the ref's going to blow for a foul there. Yeah, he is. And it's still 2-0 to Leipzig. Half time, 1-1 between Milan and Dortmund. There's a ball into. Oh, Dembele gets the pass all wrong. Mbappe for a moment there looked like he'd. Oh, and Isak might have got in there. That was so close. that handball? No. Hmm. VAR better have a look at that one, I think, because that's if he handballs it there, he's a red card. Definitely. I don't know if VAR can. I suppose he can check red cards. Kalamoane into Mbappe. He's had very little of the ball. They've done a really good job of keeping him up there. And now Mbappe just doesn't look like he's doing it. He's holding the ball and then just passing it backwards. I'd want to see him try and test Trippier down his outside. Yeah, again, they're just trying the ball that's just not on. I mean, from a tactical point of view, I think this PSG team don't know how to unlock this Newcastle defence at this point. They look out of ideas, which is weird because at the start of the game, I think Dembele's trickery and Mbappe's pace was looking like it was going to really cause them problems. Lee with the ball into Mbappe. Mbappe gets it back in the area. Oh, what a block! Dembele had the ball there, and it took the first time shot from 6 yards out, and it hits the Newcastle player and doesn't go in. Here's a chance again now. Hakimi's on that inverted fullback position. Fabian's now playing at right wing, and his Dembele. Nice that they're trying to kind of mix things up, but I don't really see what Fabian's adding on the right wing there. As like he's just standing there to stop people from marking him, I suppose. Here's Dembele. He's got space. Plays it into Hakimi behind the defence. Back out to Fabian. They're pushing them back here. Here's Dembele with a strike. It's gone over the bar, and that will be half time. Well, this has been quite that was an amazing block. That who was that? That was shy. It just hits him in the chest, and this he falls. You know what? He does handle it. I don't. Obviously, it's not deliberate, but and actually, to be fair, he's kind of breaking a fall in doing it, so I think it's fine. I think it's not. It's not handball, but he's very very fortunate. Is Skriniar there because if Skriniar had if he had actually challenged in a more if he'd have missed the ball there, then Isak was in on goal. And yeah, it's a really really high stakes game now. It's a massively high stakes game. Right, what I'm going to do now then. First thing we do actually is just switch this up a bit because this isn't quite the. Oh, that's why. Yeah. I'm just going to switch this up because I want to see want you guys to see who the scorers are. But then we're going to go to half time. And where is it now? Break. There is a Premier League table there, which we're going to turn off because we don't need to hear that. Don't see that even. Where are the Champions League tables? Where are you? Browser. Champions League. Done. Just interact with that. Oh, there we go. Actually, fine. We are there. That's good. I'll just do that. And there's a little holding image for people to see while I'm off. The possession stats actually are in favour of. It's interesting actually, but this is kind of what I would expect of a game between these two teams. These stats: 14 shots to 3 in PSG's favour, 3 shots on target to 2. That shows a bit more of the feel of the game. It feels quite even. But obviously 14 shots. I think what's been happening is they just had the ball. They've had the ball quite a lot, but they've not really been in threatening positions apart from a couple of times, 2 or 3 times I can think of, where they got a shot off and it was just a block. But even then, they're not like last gasp blocks or like last ditch blocks. It just happens to hit the player in the way of the goal. It's not like Brentford Arsenal at the weekend where you've got like people Declan Rice standing on the goal line and blocking it out not blocking it away, or Zinchenko stopping it from going in on the goal line. It's not like that. But PSG don't look like they've got the structure to be able to take down this Newcastle defence. So I'm really looking forward to this second half. I will be back in about 10, 15 minutes or so to start to talk about the second half. But for now, see you soon. I was just watching the Man City goals. And they're both kind of breakaway-ish. But yeah, this is quite late, isn't it? Interesting. Maybe if I just refresh this, it'll work. Ah, okay, we have already started. Good to know. We have already started the second half. It's Newcastle on the break here. They've played it to Isak. He's in on goal here. Isak, this way and that. Still going. Plays it. I don't know what was all that about. What was that? What was that from Isak? Goodness me, I've got cake down here. By the way. Funny. I finally got some, and then I was like, oh, right. I've actually not got a lot of time to eat this. So I don't bring it up. Here's Mbappe on the break here. Facing up with Lascelles and Trippier. Well, that's going to be a corner. What was he played it? No. Not a chance there, Ugarte, but he's played it out to Hakimi. Oh dear, what a terrible touch. Gordon against Hakimi, and Gordon goes down. And it is a free kick to Newcastle. He's fine. He gets a little bit of a hit on his on the back of his calf. That's it. Isak. Yeah, that was. So Isak gets in on goal, goes this way, goes that way, and then just decides to roll it back to no one. I think he thinks that someone's coming behind him, but his pass back's just shocking. Not very good. I think Isak has been pretty average tonight, apart from the goal, obviously. I think that apart from that, he's not really done a great deal. He's provided a bit of a threat, but his finishing has not been that great. And I remember people, Arsenal fans, years ago saying, was it years ago? It wasn't too long ago. People were saying, oh, Arsenal should definitely buy him. Arsenal should buy him. He's definitely should be our striker. He's not really. He's not an amazing finisher. That's the thing. He can give you moments of amazing play, but you can see why he's kind of competing with Wilson. He's not the absolute guaranteed starter that I think a lot of people thought he would have been at this stage. It's a nice. Oh, no, it's not actually. It's gone straight to a PSG player. Yeah, Dortmund. No, Dortmund. PSG have had chances. Ah, it wasn't a good ball. That was. Yeah, they're struggling to get through. I think when they give it to the front three, and if the front three have a lot of space, then I think PSG can do quite a lot of damage. But they're not being able to get the ball into them at the moment. It does look like Newcastle are playing a bit more expansively at the start of the second half, and they're thinking that we could potentially score a goal ourselves and make this game easier on us. Oh dear, that's not a good touch from Pope. Got out for a throw to Newcastle. And PSG have it, but it's back in their own third. And Newcastle have it again, and they could potentially break here. Here's Gordon on the left-hand side. Gordon beats Skriniar just about. And Skriniar gets the tackle in. That's really, really good play. Really, really good play. Got to be careful there, Skriniar. Don't get booked. Throwing the ball away. He should, yeah, that actually should have been a PSG throw, to be fair. He was right. Hmm. Pope looked a bit nervous there. That's nice though. Newcastle just trying to kind of play their way through this PSG press, and they might do now because Almiron is away, but Pereira should get this away, I think. Does. Down to Donnarumma. Mbappe on the left-hand side, but he's inside his own half here. He's taken on one player, and that's, oh dear. I don't know why the camera zoomed in on Mbappe there as well, because that wasn't a very helpful tactical view of what was going on there. Basically, Mbappe gets the ball on the left, but he's level with the halfway line almost, and he tries to take on two players. And he could, if he gets through, yes, he's breaking through one line of defence, but he's still got other defenders in front of him. It's just not worth him coming that short. He needs to be a threat in behind. I don't think that. I don't think PSG are really thinking about that ball in behind a lot. They're just trying to kind of play in front of Newcastle, and they've lost it again there. Almost. They do win it back. Just about. Mbappe again, getting it quite deep here. He's playing it to Fabian. Fabian coming inside. For all I was talking about this midfield of PSG, they don't really look that great. They're very ponderous. There's no real incisiveness in there. They're just passing it sideways every time they get it, and now it's gone back to. It just seems to be like, oh yeah, we're just going to play it wide, and then go back again. Guess what? The ball's going to end up the other side. There's no check. Oh, no, they've actually gone the other way this time. Okay, that's a little bit different. Still ends up in the same thing though. It's going to end up the other side again. And Newcastle are happy with this. Like they're absolutely fine with this. Just like they're going to watch PSG try and play, and they've initiated their press quite well here. And then it's mainly because they've got their three midfielders in a line and their two centre backs behind them in a line, two fullbacks pushed on, but they're all in like straight lines. There's no diagonals. This is nice. Oh, that was a chance to get Dembele in behind there. Didn't quite get it. It was well played by Newcastle. Oh dear, what was that? Almost gives it away to Colin Mawani. Plays it into. Oh, no one. Miley didn't quite get that one right. So I haven't actually mentioned Miley once in this game, but he's actually that. Is that necessarily a bad thing? I don't think it is really. I think he's just been industrious. He's been part of this, and this is why Newcastle, I think, are such a formidable team. Is that they play well beyond the players that they've got because the structure as a team is so strong. PSG are kind of the polar opposite. They play beyond what they don't play beyond what they've got at all. In fact, they probably play worse than what they've got because their structure is so poor. Now here's Dembele running on the right side, but that's not really any good. It's gone out to Agate. That was another good tackle from Joelinton, and he's fouled him here. Agate. Oh, that was Lee actually. Sorry. Yeah, pretty clear shirt pull there. I think PSG are going to start getting quite frustrated. Next few minutes here, they've already had 10 minutes of the second half, and it's still 1-0. Still 2-0 to Leipzig. Man City didn't really look that great when I saw some of the highlights. They're very much off it. This is the question a lot of people are asking. It's probably like a second string team. It's not actually. It's, as I thought, it's a pretty strong Man City team because I think they can't really feel much of a second team right now. They don't have the players. So that should be, yeah, cleared by Sharp. There's Fabian. Nagate. It's just, again, there's a lot of sideways passing, which, I mean, I don't mind. I've watched Arsenal play over the years, and I think a lot of people have accused Arsenal of doing this sideways, almost like semicircle passing. But at least with Arsenal, I think they try and make the incisive movement in towards the goal. But this is so safe from PSG. It's like they don't have the bravery to try and make that pass, and then when they do, they don't get it right. Oh, here we go though, Dembele. Oh, it's almost in. Mbappe. Oh, and it's in the end. It's cleared again. That's the one time they got that incisive pass correct, because they got it into Dembele, who was running in behind. He just about managed to flick it over the goalkeeper, and Mbappe couldn't quite take the shot on in the end. It's a shame that. It was a really good chance for PSG, that. Really good chance. Look, he gets it here. Well saved by Pope in the end. And Mbappe with the overhead kick. I do think if Newcastle had a sub to bring on for Gordon at some point, they might be wise doing it, because he looks quite tired still. Just a bit of pace, I think that's the thing. That was nice, but it's not quite there, and that's going to be... Is that a foul? Or have they given a throw? Not sure. They were just given a throw. Well, that's given away by Newcastle there from the throw. This could be dangerous if not careful. Dembele's going to roast him here. Oh, we got close. He's still going. Ref's given a free kick, and Dembele's kicked the ball away, which will always going to be a yellow card. I understand his frustration a little bit, because I don't think it's necessarily a foul, that challenge. I'll have to look at it again, but I think he goes in with the shoulder, and it's just strength. And he's actually going to miss the next game as well, which is big. Livramento just... I don't know. I think in the Premier League you don't get that. In the Premier League you just play on. Especially if Newcastle are playing. Oh, that's a lovely ball in behind. Is Gordon in here? That's... he's just tired, man. I think he's got the running behind, but he just doesn't have the awareness to be able to do the next action. Oh dear. Danilo Pereira has the ball. I think, actually, to be fair, I was thinking about what I was saying earlier as well, about Danilo Pereira being a kind of good defender. That's kind of all he is at the moment, because I don't really think he's that great at playmaking. And if you're playing someone that deep, do you really... I don't think you want it to be Danilo Pereira as a player who's going to set that. Was a terrible ball, that, by Lee, giving it away, and now Gordon can run. Gordon's gone. He's beaten. Oh goodness me, he's beaten him. And is that a red? Is that a red? No, it's not. It's a yellow. The referee's reaching for. He was reaching for the. He gave a yellow, and he was reaching for the back of his shorts as if to pull out a red. Yeah, he actually doesn't. Oh, okay, no, he does. Yeah, I don't think. I don't think he's. I don't think he's ever gonna convince the referee that's not a foul. Well, Newcastle had this free kick then. We know how good Trippier is from these free kicks. Very, very good. And this is kind of perfect territory. It's about 25 yards out. Trippier just clipped over the bar by the wall. It'll be a corner. Don't think it was going to trouble Donnarumma. I think he was going to cover that one. Oh, lovely bit of chocolate cake there. Really nice. So we've got, what, about half an hour to go in this game. And I think it's going to be a tough one for PSG to get them back, especially if they concede a goal here. That's the sells, but I think the ref's given a free kick here. He has. And the referee's stopping it because of a sub. No, I actually want to see a rule put in here. How about this one? So if a free kick is given and there's an opportunity for a transition, I think the ref should allow play on, even if there's a sub waiting to come on, unless, well, I don't even think you can allow. I think the referee should always try and play to the benefit of the game, and if a player wants to play on there, they should let him. What he did there was he said the goalkeeper, or I think it was Danilo Pereira, had the ball, and he was like, "Oh, I want to play the ball here. I want to get the game moving." Referee stops him and says, "No, you've got to change." But the like, it's given that it's his team that's making the change as well. Like, surely you just let him play. Here's a chance. Lee gave it to. I'm not actually sure who's that. Who's come on there? I've completely missed that. Is that Xavi Simmons? I think it might be. On the left-hand side. Obviously not for Mbappe. Mbappe's in the middle. I think Kolo Muani's come off. Dembele on the right. Here's Lee. Nice chop inside. Oh. Now that came off like 3 Newcastle players, and they're appealing for handball. Pretty sure it wasn't. I don't think any of them. I don't think any of them thought it would have been handball. It's Fabian. That's nice. Back out to Lee. Now Fabian. Now Agate. Knowing that Lee and Agate have both got a very, very similar hairdo. Very difficult. Oh, Dortmund have gone 2-1 up. Dortmund are 2-1 up. That's a big, big goal out for Dortmund. They'll go through if that stays the same, and it leaves Newcastle with a very, very good position. I don't really think it matters too much what happens in the other games if Newcastle win this game for them. I think for them, just winning tonight is what they need to do. They absolutely have to do it. Here is Gordon. I mean, while they're winning the game, why do they want to bring someone on? I would say, oh dear, what's that touch? That was shocking. Almiron. Back to him again. Oh, Almiron scuffed it wide. Shocking touch that was from Hernandez. Really bad. Actually couldn't. No, that replay was rubbish as well. I want to see the mistake, really. Just going to tell you exactly who it was. I'm pretty sure it was Hernandez who just kind of heads it. Looks like he's trying to head it out of play, but he ends up heading it backwards, back towards Almiron. Here's Dembele. On to Hakimi. They look a lot better when you got Hakimi playing that right wing back role. Way better. Here's Xavi Simmons. He's taken the shot, but it's blocked again. Pretty sure that's Xavi Simmons. I mean, unless I've completely got that wrong, I'm pretty sure that's Xavi Simmons. I'm going to check that while we're playing here. Oh, City have got a goal back. Oh, it's a chance again. It's cleared. Again, appeals for handball. I feel like they're just going to appeal for handball every time. Oh, is Vitin? No. Barcola? Oh, there we know, man. It's Barcola. It's not Xavi Simmons. What am I talking about? Not even sure if he still plays for PSV, but that was nice. Mbappe. Oh, there's got to be a goal. It's not. What a save! What a save! Barcola should have scored there. Oh, Nick Pope has absolutely ruined him there. That was an amazing save. Corner to PSG. Lead to take. Goes in the box. And it will be. I think is he gonna play it again? Yeah, they're gonna let him play it again. That was interesting to say the least, I think. Here's Lee again. From the corner. This time it's cleared. Oh. Lee looks quite tired. He just looks like he's just walking across. I'm not sure why. Or they're trying to kind of reorganize a bit. Yeah, they're being a bit more expansive here, I think. They just want to try and stretch the pitch a bit wider. Nandis, oh, that's lovely. Here's Bacola. Oh, he's hit it wide of the near post. That was really nice, that. Lovely touch from Mbappe. And if that is what it takes for this, I mean, I do worry about Mbappe's future at PSG, to be fair, because I just don't think. I think if you if you're playing in a team and you're on the left hand side and your team can't give you the service that you probably should get, that is an amazing save from Pope. A fantastic save. If you don't get the service that you probably ought to on the left hand side, and you're having to play central and play striker in order to get that service, that says a lot about the team and how your team's constructed, I think. And they're not really built to get the best out of Mbappe. At least not the way they played in the first half. And I think, well, I don't know what they were expecting about Newcastle, but if they were expecting Newcastle to come at them in the first half, it wasn't ever going to happen. Now, the thing for Newcastle is they can't allow PSG to, oh, here we go, they could be in here. Now, that could be a penalty. No. No, he's not giving it. PSG players are surrounding him here. Vitinha, Lee are all at him. They're not doing anything. Oh, no. They're asking him to stop. Okay, there is a potential penalty check going on. So they've stopped the play because I think Newcastle took the play quickly. And he's like, nope, stop the game. And this is, I think, what I think. So here's another thing as well. So there's a thing that in VAR they say once the play has continued, not a penalty apparently. Yeah. Okay. Right. So this is a better way of doing it, I think. Where they just continue. Yeah, it's not a penalty. It's clumsy from Gordon. I've got to say, like he's very lucky, I think, to get away with that. Because he gets to the ball there first, and there is contact, and there's no way that Hakimi's getting to the ball after that because I think he's hit it too hard. But still, like I think the way that the way that VAR is managed in England is when the ball goes out of play, if there's a VAR check going on, the game stops. The game can't continue. Whereas it looked like there, the referee was happy to let it continue and then stopped it for a potential VAR check, a potential penalty VAR check. And well, do you necessarily? Oh, it's 3-1 to Dortmund now. Milan are going out. Well, not going out, but they're in real trouble here. Here's Barcola on the left hand side. Barcola around him. It's going to be a goal kick. Dortmund looking like they're booking their place in the last 16. Not what we were expecting from this group, to be fair. Um, oh, his Barcola is quite unlucky there, to be fair. They've, I think, if you manage it in a way that you just keep playing, regardless, allow the play to continue. Um, you keep that kind of that flow of the game going. But then, if there's something that VAR have to get involved with, then you have to. Um, I think then only then do you stop the game. And that, if you look at the history of a lot of Premier League games, VAR, unless like there's exceptional circumstances like the Tottenham Chelsea game, but even in the Tottenham Chelsea game, there were opportunities to keep playing, even though a VAR check is in progress. Like they didn't, they just stopped the game. I think you should probably just keep playing, and then what happens happens. There's a chance here. Lee has it. It's gone back to Barcola. That was nice. Oh, the finish wasn't there. It's another handball shout. Referee's not going to give it there. The shot, and it's gone wide to Barcola. And in the end, Newcastle clear it again. Referee is not moved. Okay, now someone is being booked here. Why is Donnarumma getting booked? I don't understand this. Is it just because he's shouted at him? That is foolish to an extent. Because he's the furthest player away from the penalty. He's the furthest player away. So why on earth are you getting involved, man? Okay, so it does hit his arm. It hits Marley's arm. Now in the Premier League, that would be a penalty. Guarantee you. I guarantee you. But for some reason in the Champions League, these penalties aren't given. I'm guessing it's because the ball's not in a threatening position. I don't know. Oh, that's a long ball. They've not really looked for this enough, PSG, but it's gone back to Dembele. And here's Lee. And it's gone back to Fabian, who takes the shot. It's a bit poor, and it's gone back to Hernandez. And now Barcola with it on the left-hand side. That's a lovely touch. Mbappe is threatening here. Oh, cleared again. I'm living this with Newcastle fans now. This is obviously going to be nervy. And I think when you see Mbappe in the middle of the penalty area like that, with the ball at his feet, I've got visions of the World Cup when he just kind of, not even the World Cup, I think the Champions League as well, he did this, where he kind of gets the ball and then just waltzes past two players and scores. So he could do that. He hasn't done it yet, though. He's not really been that great, to be fair. He's had a couple of moments, but oh, that's nice. He's, oh, what did Mbappe have to do there? He didn't have to do anything. He shouldn't have gotten involved in that. He just kind of flicked it away from the defenders. Hakimi gives the ball away. This is like all PSG here now. We've still got 20 minutes left. Thereabouts. Like 16 minutes plus stoppage time. And I don't... I think if Newcastle hold out like this for the rest of the game, that's very impressive, but I can't see that happening. That's a terrible ball out there. And the referee's given our side. But again, they could potentially have played on there. But I suppose Newcastle would take the free kick, given the fact they've been under siege for about 20 minutes now. I don't remember Newcastle having much of a chance in this second half. In fact, if we have a look at the stats, they're wrong. Okay, hang on. Let me just change that. It's not gone well, has it? There you go. Yeah, so they've not really done a great deal more. They've still not had a single shot on target. In fact, they've not had a single shot in the second half of Newcastle. They've not had a single shot. Donnarumma. PSG just playing out. And the Newcastle are doing quite a good job of pressing out from the front here. But they have lost it. Now it's Lee playing it into Dembele. And Mbappe's away here. Mbappe isn't going to get that, though. It's not a good enough ball. Oh, my days. Why? Why? That was an amazing chance, that, for Mbappe. It's probably the best chance of the game-ish. And Mbappe knows he's not getting that. Pope's there first. It's just too fast a ball to allow Mbappe to run into it. Isak is... I think you bring on... Newcastle need to make changes here. Obviously, we looked at the bench, and this is the problem with this Newcastle team is I think a lot of these players are going to have to play 90 minutes. You might not see more than 2 changes from Newcastle here. And this might be what PSG want to do, is just tire this Newcastle team out. So it would be fairly heroic if this Newcastle team managed to come out with a 1-0 win. I just don't see it, because a few of them looked tired in the first half, let alone the second. And obviously we talked about the fact that the physicality, the physical nature of this Newcastle team is better than PSG's, but technically the PSG midfield is better, as you'd expect. Here's Barcola on the left. They're making a few more kind of incisive passes. They're letting Vitinha roam forward a bit more. He's kind of going forward to join Dembele as striker at the moment, and Mbappe's kind of go off to the right. It's very static though. It is very, very static. Oh dear, what's Barcola done there? That wasn't very good. Not very good at all. And here's Dembele on the right-hand side this time. It does look like, well, yeah, that last passage play wasn't particularly impressive from PSG because they didn't really get very close to the penalty area. Now they're giving it away here. Almiron will try and run away from Mbappe, but that's not going to happen. Well, PSG very aware of the task at hand here, because if they lose this game, their future is out of their hands. Here's Hakimi, cleared again by Newcastle. It doesn't mean that they're out, PSG, because they could still get a result against Dortmund, but even if they got a result, they might not win. They might not go through. That's nice from Lee. Oh dear, got that all wrong. They do keep the ball though here. Fernandez. Playing it back out to Vitinha. That's a bit of space here for Dembele. Still Dembele. Still, oh no, he's got it out, and that's just terrible. What's he done there? What has he done there, Hakimi? He's shot with his left foot from outside the box, and it's skied over the bar. The amount of times that PSG have taken shots from outside the box and they've just skied it. They've either skied it or it's been a weak shot straight at the goalkeeper. They've really not impressed. Carlos Soler's coming on now. I think they are struggling with options. Both of these teams are struggling with subs. I think it's fair to say. They're not doing that well. And that's gone straight out of play from Pope there. Wonder why. I do wonder whether sometimes do goalkeepers deliberately do that just to allow their team to keep a certain shape and not be hit on the break. Because I think having a throw-in in your possession inside your own half is actually quite tricky if a team's playing very aggressively. It's a pretty solid like 4-5-1 at the moment, the way that Newcastle are playing without the ball, and they've not had a lot of the ball. That's an interesting ball. Dembele's just about kept it. Oh, that's a terrible touch. He kind of trod on it, slipped over, and then kept the ball. It's Barcola. Newcastle players are getting tired. You'd expect with the technicians in this PSG team, they'll be able to play their way through. With Soler coming on, I do wonder, probably coming on for Lee, I would assume, unless they're changing something with a formation. That was nice. Oh, and Mbappe's just spooned it away. Still in Newcastle in their PSG possession though. They've got like a little kind of pentagon of 5 in their defence to keep the ball working quite well. That was nice. Into Mbappe, back into Dembele. It's very tight. Dembele with a cross. Barcola's nowhere near it, and it should go out for a throw. Although Gordon's chasing it. And Gordon, nope. That's well played. PSG keep it. There is a lot that's quite predictable about this PSG team, though. And this is the thing. That was nice, though. That was very nice. Hernandez is in behind here, but that's another good block. Back in by Hernandez. Isak, can he keep it? Nope. He's played it straight into Lee. And it's into Mbappe. That pass wasn't that great. Hernandez. Oh, how does he miss Dembele? How does he miss? He's about 5 yards out. 4 yards out. And there's got to be a block on here from Shah, surely. I actually can't tell. Not from there. Let's see what happens here. No, it's just a miss. It's a horrible, horrible miss from Dembele on his left foot as well. It's just like, I think they have had, we're getting to the point now where they've had the chances to draw this game. Asensio's come on for, oh, it's not Soler, sorry, Asensio. Why do I think Soler? It's even in this team. My football knowledge is being exposed tonight. No, Soler is on the bench. It's just that Asensio looks a lot like Soler. There you go. Fair enough. It's oh gosh. Newcastle are the walking wounded at this point. Almiron. And you can kind of understand it because if you look at their bench tonight is, I'll just read it out for you. Dubravka, Dummett, Karius, Hall, and Dueni. And Dueni? Huntley and Parkinson. There is probably, I would say, a maximum of maybe 3 recognised first team players there, not counting Karius. Possibly 4 if you count Karius. And that's not a lot. And none of them you would see as upgrades for this Newcastle team. So it's quite clear that that explains why they're not making any subs. Because I think if they did, they would probably weaken the team even with the extra legs they'd have on the pitch. That's a ball over the top for Mbappe. He might keep this in. He just about does. He tries to beat him, but Lascelles is wise to that, and he gets absolutely clattered there by Asensio. Oh, Hernandez, sorry. Yeah. This is one of those where you think Newcastle have just kind of killed this game a little bit. But even so, you've got to give credit where credit's due. If they keep a clean sheet away in Paris, it's probably the result that no one expected, a 1-0 away win in Paris. That would be, I think it'd go up there as one of the best results for English teams, or British teams even, in the Champions League. I don't think you could probably name, well, definitely, I mean, a better result for Newcastle. When have Newcastle had a better result in Europe than this? Gonzalo Ramos is coming on for PSG now. Who's coming off here? Danilo Pereira. So they're going aggressive here. This is going to be a 3 at the back probably. Or they're going to bring one of their defenders, their midfielders back into defence, I think. That might be more likely. Fabian. Of course, if they do get a point here, they've still got the problem of what do they do after that? If they get a goal, sorry, the rest of the game is still to be played. And Newcastle will be kind of needing to avoid conceding another goal. There's a chance here. That was a pretty aggressive ball, but got it in there and it's flicked up. Hakimi's still underneath it. Joe Linton is keeping it in. And it's given it straight to the PSG player. Oh, that's so close. There's a great ball in, and Barcola is inches away from getting the touch that surely would have ended up in the net. But in the end, I think, is he being held by the defender here? I don't think he is. Can't really tell from that angle. No, I don't think he is. Yeah, Trippier's tracking him, but he's not holding him. This reminds me a bit, although I think this is giving PSG a bit too much credit, but this is reminding me a bit of Chelsea playing Barcelona away from home and holding out and getting the win. There, here's Dembele. Got almost all the Newcastle players are in front of him. All the Newcastle players are inside their own third of the pitch. And Joe Linton trying to initiate the press. And now Dembele, but that's blocked. This is very, very difficult, I think. Oh, that's lovely from Mbappe. Nice touch, but he takes him away and he goes inside. It's just hit. Oh my days, Mbappe's missed an open goal, basically. The first shot, I think, just hits Pope. He doesn't really know a lot about it. Look at this. Shoulders him off. It just kind of hits Pope and then he thwacks it with his left foot. Mbappe hits Pope in the chest, and then he doesn't really do a great job with his shot. I say that it's actually really close. It goes only about a yard wide. But I don't think it's PSG's night tonight. I think they're just probably going to get beaten if they can't score chances like that. Definitely not Mbappe's night. Oh, don't tell me he's played offside there, Barcola. Goodness me, that was shocking. Absolutely shocking. I don't know why is the camera looking at Hernandez? It's not his fault. Player's got to stay on side. That's so annoying. As a player, you'd be so frustrated trying to build pressure against this Newcastle team, and then one of your players just lazily stands offside. Almiron's booked. What for? Hmm. Going to play this long here, and he's allowed to control it. Is Isak? That's interesting from PSG. Cleared, and PSG have the ball in the midfield again, but this time with space in front of them. This might make more of an impression. Here's Dembele running at his defender, plays it into the box. I don't think Pope's kept that in. No, he hasn't. It's going to be a corner. They've got 1.5 minutes plus stoppage time left. It's a good idea, that, going into Mbappe, but I don't think Mbappe would have got to the ball if he had played it. That's nice. Mbappe with a flick. It's never a penalty. He's just fallen over. And yeah, and again, this is another case of a team like PSG who's just look very good in their own league, but as soon as they play in the Champions League, that's kind of that. They're not as convincing at all. And this, that's no, Asensio's just blasted it from outside the box, and that's just frustration. That is absolute frustration. While they're taking this goal kick, no doubt they'll take a long time over it. I want to check these scores. It's 3-2 to Man City. Of course it is. Yeah. I mean, what can you do? You give a team a 2-0 lead at home and you're not going to win the game. Oh dear. How has that happened? So Foden and Alvarez just scored, actually. Alvarez has just scored the winner. It looks like they've probably just dominated this second half and they've scored 3 goals. Fair enough. Barcelona 2-1 up against Porto. Dortmund we know about, and Atletico are beating Feyenoord 3-2. 3-1, sorry. Away. It's a good Yeah. I might actually, after this stream, or maybe while this stream is going on, I might set up a new um, thing showing the scores and the table, possibly. Scores and tables. Might do that. For the Champions League, it feels like it makes sense because you've got like 8 games going on at the same time. Well, 6, because you have 2 games happening earlier. Here's Hakimi trying to get past Gordon. He's flicked it into the box. Oh my days! Barcola's missed an open goal again. It's not. It's not easy because Mbappe's trying to get to the ball, but it just goes a bit too high for him. And Barcola, I don't think, is expecting it to get to him. So that's probably why. Yeah, and his action is just delayed slightly because he sees Mbappe's going for the ball, and when he realizes it's getting to him, he goes for the shot, but it's too late because his foot's not in the right place. That is. And that, unfortunately, is what happens when you're playing. I think if you're playing against a team like Newcastle, you need to be clinical with your chances because you put a lot of pressure on the opposition if you put those chances. They've had like PSG have had 3, 4 really good chances to score in this game, and the fact that they haven't scored any of them kind of says a lot about the lack of finishing power up front for them. Dembele is one of those players that he's had a lot of talent, but I don't think anyone's ever been convinced about his end product. Which is why I was surprised that that PSG bought him. He's not the kind of player. I mean, I don't think I'd necessarily have him at Arsenal, really, because like compared to Saka, Saka has way more end product. That's gone out. That's another shot from outside the box from Asensio that's gone over the bar. I mean, yeah, he's just leaning back. It flies over the bar. It's shocking. This PSG team, man. This PSG team are just so disappointing. Yellow card for Pope. Wouldn't be surprised if he misses the next match from that yellow card, to be fair. There has been 8 minutes of stoppage time indicated. We're about 3 minutes into that. So PSG obviously need to score. Ideally they'd have won this game and they would have been potentially heading into the next round, or at least close. I think Newcastle would have been out if they'd have lost as well. So this is nice for Newcastle, this. Fabian trying to play it into Mbappe, but it's a terrible touch. Joe Linton can't keep it. They are shattered, Newcastle. They're absolutely shattered. You can tell because as soon as they get the ball, they just like clear it. They don't really have any kind of presence of mind to try and keep the ball here. Newcastle, but PSG need to test them with runs in behind here if they have any kind of space. And there has been opportunity to do that as well. I've seen a few times in this attack alone where they could have played the ball in behind. That was nice. It's gone straight to... Oh, what's he doing there, Dembele? What are you doing? He heads it back in towards the goal. What's he doing? Now someone's taking a shot from outside the box. What are you doing? And he just released all that pressure. Now Newcastle can come out again. Back into Mbappe. That's a terrible ball back again, and it's cleared. This is kind of what's happened from a Newcastle point of view. The reason why this is happening is they don't have an out ball. They've got no one who's willing to run in behind. Dembele leaves it and it goes straight to a Newcastle player. Skriniar. That's intercepted, but it's given to Mbappe. This is... Oh, lovely. That could be handball. That was really close. That was really close. It does go at him really fast. But the ref is being told it's a penalty check, and now Gonçalo Ramos has been booked. Fair enough by the ref. You need to stamp down on this because you've got a lot of players around you. But I'm not... Given how they've been addressing handballs so far in this game, I don't think they're going to give this one. I don't think they're going to give this because they've not been. There's two other ones that have been fairly similar to this, and this one's fired at him from really close. So if they're using the old handball rule, then they don't give the penalty. Yeah. Oh, they're checking it. They're checking it. And Newcastle about to have their hearts broken here from a. Oh dear! Can you imagine? I don't understand the handball rule. I don't understand what was the reason for not giving the other two if they're going to give this one. Unless I see something in these replays which doesn't make a lot of sense, which makes it look very different to what we've seen before. I think we shouldn't be seeing a penalty here. So it's played into him. It comes off his chest and onto his arm. That's worse. That's less of a penalty than, oh my days. The the other penalties were more penalties than that one, and he's going to give this. He's given the penalty. It's a penalty to PSG. That's crazy, man. That is absolutely crazy. It comes off his chest. At least the other ones hit the player straight on the arm. I'm looking forward to seeing all of these. Oh man, and I'm also pretty sure there's somewhere in the law that it says if it hits another player in one part of the body first and then onto the arm, I don't think, as long as it's not deliberate, it's fine. Because that's the close. But they've kind of completely abandoned the handball rule, and they've just said, right, if it touches the arm in any position, it's handball. But then why didn't they give the other two handball appeals earlier in the game when they definitely were handballs? Because of that, because it just touches the arm in the box. And now Mbappe is stepping up to equalise for PSG. It's a great penalty. It's 1-1, and that is an absolute dagger to the heart for Newcastle. Can you believe the position that PSG have found themselves in here? Wow. Not to say no. What I'm not saying here is that PSG don't deserve this. They do deserve it. They've dominated this second half from a pressure point of view. They have dominated it, but I don't understand the way that they've come to this decision because based on the rest of the decisions that I've seen in this game, it's very very weird. And he got really close to it as well. Did Pope? To be fair, got very very close to it. Well, we've had 8 minutes of injury time, and I think they should add at least one, maybe two. And PSG don't have any defenders on the pitch, more or less. They've got one in Skriniar, and they're going to try and go for it here. Now I'm going to try and go for it. Skriniar plays it wide. There's a chance to win it, maybe. That wasn't great. Oh, I tell you what, Barcola had the chance to win it there. He had the chance to win it. Take the camera off of the owner, man. Flipping Nora. What is that? Take the camera off the owner. Who cares about what the owner thinks? I'm not bothered. Look at the players. Ah, oh, Barcola with a free header at the far post. He leaps really high. He leaps really, really high, and he just balloons it over the bar. Newcastle are, I think, on the balance of play, really lucky to come out with a point in this game. Having said that, the way that they've gone down to 1-1, I think they are quite rightly. They would be quite right to be annoyed, and that is full time. 1-1. Newcastle will be annoyed at that, and also there's a fight happening here, something like that. I'm not sure. There's things going on, things being said. Pretty sure it is half time, but Mbappe is not happy. Or is he trying to? I'm not sure. But anyway, there you go. Actually, here's the important thing about the fact that they've only got a point and not a win here means that the um the league or the position their position in the Champions League is not um, it's not in their own hands anymore. It was up until that equaliser from PSG, but now Newcastle go to Milan or go are at home against Milan, knowing that even a win may not be enough to put them through. Um, after that, but I do think that part of it was also Newcastle being a victim of their own injury list to an extent as well. If we uh, if we just go back to, and it's gone back to this again. Why has it done this? Hmm, weird. Um, anyway, let's go back to the tables, and this is what it looks like now. Um, Dortmund are top on 10 points. They've qualified. PSG on 7 points. Newcastle and Milan are on 5. Now here is the rub. So were to if Newcastle were to win, unless PSG win, Newcastle will qualify. If Milan were to win, I don't know what the head-to-head is between AC Milan and PSG. I'm not sure. I have a feeling that it's not in Milan's favour, but I'm going to check. I'm going to have to check. Um, let's see. So, Milan beat PSG at home, 2-1, and then what did they do away from home? They drew. Okay. Oh no, that's Dortmund. Never mind. That'll be a September game then, won't it? Probably. Nope. What was the other one then? Oh, Dortmund. The PSG beat. Okay, so PSG are winning the head-to-head between them and Milan, which means that Newcastle. So if Milan were to beat Newcastle in St James's Park, which, but by the way, I don't see that game is happening in 2 weeks, and you'd hope that Newcastle would have a couple of players back for that. Obviously, players like Wilson were missing, even, which is like that's crazy. But if Milan were to win, they would need PSG to lose away against Dortmund. Now, I do think that PSG have got the harder task than Newcastle in terms of the head-to-head, or Milan. I think that's probably the hardest task actually of all of this is probably Milan, because they've got to go to Newcastle and win. PSG have to, um, and it's also actually worth pointing out as well, because Newcastle and Milan at the moment are 0-0 from their first game in Milan. If Milan get a score draw, they will finish third, sorry, and Newcastle will finish fourth because of the away goals rule. And bear in mind, when you're level 1 points in the Champions League groups, you don't go to goal difference unless the head-to-head is level. So this is why we kind of know that if Newcastle are to win, unless PSG win as well, then Newcastle will qualify for the last 16. So it's not in their hands, but it's not far out of their hands. And obviously, I think, did Dortmund beat PSG earlier? This is the other thing I was looking at as well, or I should have been looking at. Yeah, I'm watching Isak getting interviewed, and he does not look happy. Looks a bit cheesed off, but I don't think he played that well. To be fair, he didn't really play that well. First half, he missed a couple of chances. Yes, he scored, but I think that's kind of a bit by the by, really. And second half, he was a passenger, and I think a lot of the players were passengers in that game because PSG almost made it so in the second half. They were kind of toying with this team, I think. So who was it I was looking for? PSG beat Milan. What was the other one? Oh, the Newcastle. Well, yeah, I know about that though. Milan PSG. Yeah, no, there's nothing there. Um, hmm. Dortmund beat Newcastle. Oh, that's what it was. So it was the Dortmund. It must be because of the Dortmund PSG results, which I think we looked at before, and we just sort of discovered that Dortmund had won the head-to-head, possibly. Hang on, I've got things to check here. Dortmund beat Newcastle. Okay, so it's not in this one then. Let's have a look. So Dortmund PSG. Of course, Dortmund play PSG. That's probably what it is. Yeah. Okay. So PSG played Dortmund earlier, and I'm guessing it was a draw. The first game of the group, wasn't it? Yeah. So Dortmund. Oh yeah, PSG won that game 2-0. So if PSG were to beat Dortmund, that's amazing that PSG started with a win. They started with a win, and now they're gonna potentially lose the. They're gonna potentially go out, but they have their destiny in their own hands. They beat Dortmund in the first game. They know they can do it. It was at home. This is away from home this time, I think. Wait, no, hang on, that's not right. I'm pretty sure I saw that PSG were at home. Oh, they are away from home. Okay, yeah, fine. So yeah, the PSG are away from home against Dortmund. They need a win to guarantee that, and if they do win, they win the group. So it is important, I think. Firstly, from an Arsenal point of view, as an Arsenal fan, I'd say I think I think PSG probably would not be the kind of team that Arsenal would like to face because they will really pose a threat on the counter, and they have the ability, albeit not the I don't think the physical ability, but definitely the technical ability to dominate a midfield. I don't think that PSG absolutely scare Arsenal, but I do think they are a considerable force to be reckoned with um, in this. I think they're a force to be reckoned with um, for an Arsenal team that like to keep the ball and try and put pressure on the opposition. And that defense is quite good, I would say, still, even after everything we've seen today. They didn't look, to be fair, they were playing against a Newcastle team that were quite defensive, but they didn't really look that defensively inept at all. They looked okay. But um, I think the attack is obviously scares. I'm trying to imagine Ben White against Mbappe, and they could potentially just take you apart on the counter. And that's what makes PSG a really, really dangerous team in the Champions League. Newcastle, I would almost prefer to play. Obviously, we can't play them in the last 16, but I'd prefer to play a team like Newcastle because if you can survive away from home, I think at home you can really do some damage against them. Um, and I think if PSG's finishing was better tonight, they would have probably won this game 3 or 4-1. So they had multiple chances. They even had one right at the end after the goal with the free header. But there you go. Disappointing night for Newcastle in the end. They'll be well disappointed with that. I think they probably deserved. Well, I'm not going to say they deserved to win, but they were so close. They were so close to getting that win, and it would have this whole table would have changed massively. PSG would have ended up on 6. Newcastle would have ended up on 7. They would have had their destiny in their own hands. Um, and I mean, as an Arsenal fan, there's a potential that Dortmund could finish second still. There's a potential that PSG could finish second. There's a potential that Newcastle or Milan could all finish second in this group, which is crazy. So it's going to be an interesting. Um, I say it's going to be an interesting final day. It's only interesting if PSG don't win or don't look like they're going to win until the end, if that makes sense. Like if it's close. If PSG run away with that game in Germany, then I think that probably closes this group out pretty quickly, and then it becomes a game between Newcastle and Milan for third. Um, so we'll see what happens with that one. In the other game, in the group, I'll update you what happened with that one. It was nope. These are the old results. Hang on. This is today's games. City beat RB Leipzig 3-2 in the end. And Young Boys won their game as well. So what happened here then? So yeah, so they won the group. They'll play their second leg at home. And before we go, I want to have a quick look at the tables as well. Just the generic table. In fact, what I might as well do while I'm at it, is I'm going to just create a new scene here. So okay. And we're going to just add a few things in here. Oh wait, no, that's not what I wanted to do actually. We'll just can we duplicate you? Yep. So results. There you go. You're watching stream creation right in front of you live. Kind of. Right, so for this one then, I'm going to change this. In fact, we're going to get rid of you. We're going to duplicate you. There's the paste. Oh, why do I have to reference it? I don't want to reference. I want to duplicate. Ugh, annoying. Okay, let's do that then. Can't do that, can I? That's one annoying thing about about that. Never mind, I'm just going to make a new one. That's fine. In fact, let's just do this first. So go into there. I'm sure this is absolutely riveting watching, but you'll see when we've put together this extra little slide, we'll be able to talk a little bit about everything that's gone on. Then what we're going to do is turn you off and the new one. Go. I don't want the width to be massive, so 400 is fine. And then 1000, I think. Change you. There we go. Right. So that's still not that great, but I might have to just make copies of you. Definitely need to make you a bit longer, don't you? Let's go with 1200. Yeah, that's a bit better. That. Then we can be a bit bigger. 1500. There you go, that's much better. Right, so we've got those then. So we can do that. That's pretty good. Happy with that. Ish. Maybe I have to just do this. There you go. Slightly better. And then we can do second one of those. Oh, that's not how that works. Cool. Oh, that does that. Okay. We have to do another one of. Oh no, we have to make another one. Don't we? That's right. The results. Another one. So I think this results table is going to be pretty fun as well. To be fair. like this. So we're going to do that. Scores and fixtures. That's European football. Or do we just do any football? Or just any football, don't we? Oh, okay, fine. So menu, football, scores and fixtures. What we're looking for. Copy. Paste. That should be fine. Right. Oh yeah, need to change the width as well. So it's around 400 again, and this up to like 1200 as well. Should be fine there. There you go. Fantastic. We've got all 4 sets of results there. Brilliant. Exactly what we want. There you go. Do that. Just means this one needs to be a bit smaller. That's fine. In fact, we could probably just do this as well. Yeah. Perfect. Perfectly well designed, apart from the fact that my camera is not quite in the right place, but there you go. That's fine. Right. There you go. We just about got there. So if we look at that now, I think we've got, oh yeah, just a little bit low, isn't it? That might have been something I needed to change during the stream, possibly, but yeah. Well, actually, maybe if I just do this, it's probably better, isn't it? Oops, not that though. This one. Okay, check it down here. Much better. Right, there you go. So this is what I've been designing. There you go. So Bayern Munich, I can actually put this full screen as well so we can have a look at this. So Bayern Munich are top of their group. This is the wrong tables. Good to know. Yeah, there you go. Right, that's better. We can do that, and then we can properly look at it. That's fine. Much better. All right, this is much better. Okay, so we've got the tables. This is today then. So Atletico and Lazio top of their group with final. Obviously, Celtic are just rubbish. In Europe, to be fair, today they actually put up a really good fight. They unfortunately lost 2-0. Atletico, you'd expect them. I think, to be fair, they've actually kind of made hard work of this group, but they have qualified, and they might end up going on to win the group. I don't remember what their next fixtures are, but it is a kind of an important win, I think, for this Atletico team. Sets themselves up very nicely, and of course, now that we know the City have won the group, they're probably going to go on and not play Atletico Madrid. But it would be quite funny to watch them play Atletico and see how battered physically they get. Obviously, the game we watched today. Oh, by the way, so talking about that group, final are going to be in the Europa League. Celtic are out of Europe, and Lazio and Atletico, I assume, are going to play each other. Yeah, I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna play each other at some point. I'm not sure what the next games are. Actually, let me just check that. Check that on here because no, that's not right. Lazio. Lazio's games are playing Celtic and then are playing Atletico Madrid. Yeah, so they got a head-to-head against Atletico for top spot. Essentially, big game for them in terms of winning the group, I suppose. Dortmund, obviously top of their group. They have qualified, but they haven't necessarily won their group yet. Depends on what happens. If PSG can beat them at their place, then PSG will win the group. If Dortmund can hold out for a point, then they win the group. And obviously leave PSG very nervously looking over their shoulders at Newcastle and Milan, who play off against each other. And if Newcastle win and PSG fail to win, they go through. If AC Milan win, they need PSG to lose and they go through because the head-to-heads go against Milan in that case, whereas the head-to-head has gone in favour of Newcastle against PSG. AC Milan, not AC Milan, Man City won tonight against Leipzig, even though they went 2-0 down, which, I mean, as far as like Champions League situations are, this is a bit ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, it is a little bit ridiculous how you can have a team like Man City who can afford to go 2-0 down and have a little quiet word with themselves and then suddenly turn up and win out of nowhere. Um, it's, and I'm being quite down about City, but I think it's usually about this time of year that they throw in their bad performance in the Champions League and they lose a game. At this rate, they're going to win every game between now and the end of the season and win the Champions League again. I think they're definitely quite weak defensively at the moment, as the recent defeats and a draw against Liverpool has shown as well. And Leipzig being able to score 2 goals at the Etihad, not something that's been happening very often recently. So, yeah, big results for City in the end means they can put out the kids against. I don't even know who they're playing, but Leipzig have finished second. Their next game's dead as well for them. Young Boys beat Red Star Belgrade. I would guess that means that they've probably guaranteed finished second because they're 3 points clear and they won that game. Head to head probably won't go in Red Star's favour. In fact, I know it won't because they've not won any other games this Champions League group, so they are finishing last. Then Barcelona are playing against. Who are they playing against? Well, they played Porto tonight and won, and Shakhtar won the early game against Antwerp 1-0. It's pretty straightforward for Barca. Could they still go out here? What are their games? What's Barcelona's game? Barcelona's last game is against Antwerp. It's away from home, but I wouldn't expect them to lose any points there. All they need is a point to win the group. If they, well, I know saying that they have qualified, haven't they? Because they're playing Antwerp, that means they're through. So Barcelona have qualified with that win, with 12 points. It's not possible for the other two teams to both end up on 12 points because they're playing each other. Porto and Shakhtar will be playing off essentially to win, or to finish second, sorry, in that group. I would expect. I wouldn't expect Porto to be able to do anything with that. I'm just going to check Porto's results here. Right, let's have a look. Champions League. Because the Champions League results, Porto. They beat, not Antwerp, not interested in that. Porto again. For Antwerp to even get to the group stage of the Champions League is an achievement. It's worth bearing that in mind. So Antwerp lost to Shakhtar the next 3-2 at home. That's not helpful, is it? Right, hang on. Okay, so I need to look at the September scores. Of course, that's going to be these games, isn't it? It's weird because this year's Champions League, they've mirrored the fixtures. So if you played the team in match week 1, you play that same team away from home in match week 6. Used to be match week 1 and match week 5, and then match week 2 mirrors in match week 6, and then match week 4 mirrors in match week 3, and so on. That's usually what happens. This season, it seems to have been different, which is weird. So where are you? No, Porto won that game 3-1 away to Shakhtar. So it does mean that this next game, I mean, expect anything here, really. Shakhtar could spring a surprise. But Porto are currently ahead on the head-to-head. But basically means that Shakhtar have to go to Porto and win. And Porto are very strong at home. So I would expect Porto to at the very least get a point and finish second in the group. And if they get, well, this is a group that's had no draws in it at all, so I would expect probably a Porto win, which would see Shakhtar in the Europa League. But hey, given everything that's going on in Ukraine right now and everything um, that they've suffered with having to lose a lot of players for free, essentially, they've really done well. They've really, really done well to finish in the Champions League group stages, let alone get any further than that. So I think I might keep this slide for later. It looks pretty good. Might have to kind of change things up a bit for next time, but yeah, that is that. I think. Looking, we've seen that. I suppose what we can do is just have a quick look at the table for the next for tomorrow's games. And I think what we can do here as well is just add. Can we do the same thing as this? Let's just try and interact with this. Can we do that? Oh, we can. There you go. Look at that. Genius. So we've got the Champions League group stages tomorrow and the UEFA Women's Nations League, which I wasn't really interested in. But Galatasaray play Man United early days, of course, in that game. And then Bayern Munich playing Copenhagen. It's a big game, I think, for Man United, as we discussed. They are going to be thinking about getting up to. They need to win this. As I was saying earlier, they need to win this game to even give themselves a hope of finishing in the top two. Because obviously, the next game against Bayern, their chances of beating Bayern away from, I think, is it at home or away from home? I can't remember. I think it's at home. Let me just check the fixtures. Man United fixtures. They are playing Bayern Munich at home. Okay, so they're at home. So at least they've got that going for them. But I mean, outside of that, Bayern are a really, really good team, and Man United have not been playing well at home. They've looked a nervous wreck at home. So I would expect Bayern to go and win that game. But win this game against Galatasaray away sets them up for a massive night at Old Trafford on the final day. Arsenal, we talked about earlier, they're playing Lens at home. It's a tough game, and they'll already know the result of the Sevilla PSV game. So in theory, they could already be through. Yeah, in theory, they could already be through by the time they play Lens. They could be. If Sevilla were to beat PSV, this is the only result that this actually happens, I think, because PSV playing Arsenal in the final game. If Sevilla were to beat, but well, actually saying that, I think if Sevilla were to draw with PSV, because Arsenal beat PSV 4-0 in the first game, it would take a minor miracle for PSV to overturn that head-to-head scoreline. So I think they probably go through anyway, even though PSV are within 3 points of Arsenal with a draw. Obviously, a win for PSV does set things up quite nicely for the Lens game because it means Arsenal do have to basically win that game. Oh, sorry, they have to draw that game at least to qualify. But if going into that game, if Sevilla beat PSV, Arsenal are guaranteed through, and then all they need to do is draw the game to finish top of the group. It's a shame that Arteta will have to basically name his team well before they know about that result, because obviously if they knew that they'd be through before that game, they probably wouldn't bother putting out a strong team against Lens. But never mind. Get the boys rested for Wolves. But it's obviously a massive game for Sevilla as well. They have to beat PSV at home. If they don't beat PSV at home, they're out. Is that true? Actually, no, it's not. If they don't beat PSV at home, they might be all right unless they lose. If they lose, I think they. Oh no, if they lose, they're out. Yeah, of course they are. Yeah. So they need to avoid defeat at least, but they probably need to win. I would say, because otherwise they are in a world of trouble. Um, for PSV, obviously, and then for Lons, a win. I think it really depends a lot on what happens in the other game as well as to what they need. Real Madrid, top of their group, they've almost won their group. They've got uh, 12, 12 points. Sevilla on 7. Sorry, not Sevilla. Napoli on 7. So Real Madrid are playing Napoli. So a win for Real Madrid and they win the group and they give themselves a game off at the end. Napoli need a win to guarantee qualification still. Sporting Braga playing Union Berlin. I'd expect Braga to get a win there. And I wouldn't be surprised if Braga were the team that only win so far in this Champions League group was probably against Berlin. So they need to repeat that and then put a bit of pressure on Napoli for the final game, which I'm assuming will be against Napoli. And then lastly, but by no means least, well, it is kind of least, isn't it? Because this group's kind of done. Real Sociedad and Milan are top, 10 points each. They're both qualified. That's that. Yeah, so you can see that. Hopefully, we'll be able to use these stats tomorrow just to kind of keep up on what's going on. I'm going to change this one out as well because that is not the right logo. I need to change you out straight away. Add logo. There you are. Change you out there. Now this is actually done live. I should have done this in the studio mode. Never mind. We'll hide you. Get rid of you. There you go. Perfect. Yeah. So that's pretty much it for tonight. Thank you very much, everyone who's been watching. Really appreciate you all. And thank you to Morocco who got involved in the chats. I will see you guys tomorrow night. That's probably about the same time. Probably a bit later, actually. I think I'm finishing work quite late tomorrow, so I might not see you until 8 o'clock bang on tomorrow night. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for Arsenal against Lons. Come on, you Gunners.